Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United news. Plus it's our preview for Granada versus Manchester United in the Europa League. And we will be talking about a few things, of course, because that's what we do. But first of all, I just want to say I've got a little bit of a treat for everybody to share today. And it finally arrived. You know we hit this not too long ago. But there it is. You can see our 1 million subscribers plaque from YouTube. Our gold play button. And thank you, everybody. That's basically yours, really. I mean, it's mine, but it is you because you're the subscribers of the show. So, very nice thing to have. I've even had a shave for it. And a little bit of a kiss as well. If it warm metal kissing on that. It's like kissing a cooker. But let's get on with the show. I hope everybody's doing well. That's a big thumbs up to all of you. I'll get it out again in a minute. That's what she said. But look, we've got Granada versus Manchester United preview. It actually is being played in Spain. But we've also got some news to bring you as well. Fabrizio Romano. Very interesting. I mean, look, I've got to be honest with you. I mean, look, it's news, isn't it? So you've got to bring you the news and the shoes. But yeah, I've got to. And I don't see a scenario where Sancho is used at the Euros, says Robert McCormack. But basically what Fabrizio Romano has said is that everything's in place for a Jadon Sancho deal. There's no work that needs to be done. United are constantly in contact with his agent. Everything was more or less done last summer, so it really is just waiting on a fee for Dortmund. Now, Dortmund were actually training at the Cliff, United's old training ground today, so maybe relationships between United and Dortmund aren't as bad as you might have thought they were. But I've got to be honest, look, this is coming from Fabrizio Romano. I know how close that deal was last year. I think we all do. But to hear Romano saying, again, this deal's really close and United are just waiting on the price. It's almost so close you can always touch it. Manchester United love Jadon Sancho and all that. It feels like watching... it's a bit like watching The Sixth Sense all over again. Once you've watched it and you've seen the ending, you sort of don't want to watch it again. And that doesn't mean we're not going to sign Jadon Sancho, by the way. United have always liked and wanted Sancho, and this has been going on a lot longer than last summer. But I just think it's that most of us don't want to go through it all again. And effectively, it might be so close you can almost touch it, but you can't be more far away if you don't sign him. So, yeah, we did a lot of the groundwork. Yeah, Sancho wanted to come. Yeah, the agent fees were sorted out. Yeah, Dortmund were willing to sell. But the fee was never agreed. And that's all that matters, isn't it? So, yeah, it's close in the sense that United are waiting to hear what the fee's going to be. But I think at the moment, look, is the excitement there? No. Doesn't mean it won't happen. I mean, it could happen very easily. It's probably the most closest deal United could do. But I think for now it's like, yeah, all right then. Let's wait and see what happens with that. But it's interesting, isn't it? It is interesting that that's happened. It's not waffle, CJ, because it's actually coming from the mouth of Fabrizio Romano. So, he's probably the number one transfer guru in world football. So I think that's a little bit disrespectful, isn't it? But I do agree that getting excited about it is a little bit difficult to do. Also very interesting as well, before we get into the Granada game, I remember this morning we were talking about a story from The Athletic that Manchester United have cooled their interest in Erling Haaland. That section of that article has now been removed. Now, what that means, I don't know, but Manchester United have cooled their interest in Erling Haaland is no longer in the article from The Athletic anymore. This is reported, I saw it on United District on Twitter. So that's interesting because... why would The Athletic remove something like that? Papers put stories out there all the time and it's like, well, that's what we've been told by an agent. So for them to remove that, you wonder whether Manchester United have had a word with The Athletic about that and said remove it. And why would United want it to be removed? Very interesting. I mean, look, it could just be that, the person who said it, I was misquoted. It could be any reason. But why would you remove something like that? So we'll have to see what happens with that. I'm with you though, Fajes. I don't really care about Haaland. We need a CDM and a centre midfielder, and I totally agree with you with that. Right, there are some other things I want to talk to you about which sort of fit in with around Jesse Lingard, the goalkeeping situation, and a few other things as well. But let's start off with this game against Granada as well. So Granada, Manchester United in the Europa League on Thursday. Just wanted to say thank you to the United Stand, says Kenneth Hoagland. Big thumbs up to you, Kenneth. Thank you very much. So we're playing Granada on Thursday night. What do we know about Granada? Well, they are currently mid-table in La Liga, but they've conceded more goals than anybody in La Liga. Even the team at the bottom, Granada, have conceded 49 goals, I think it is. They've conceded more goals than anybody, which is amazing, really. You never normally get a mid-table team conceding more goals than the teams teams at the bottom. So they do hemorrhage goals. They don't necessarily score that many either. They've lost their last 3 games. They lost to Villarreal at the weekend. They lost to Molde, second leg of the Europa League. And they lost to Valencia. They're not as good as Real Sociedad, and we beat them. They should be straightforward for Manchester United to beat, but not to the extent that you're playing, I don't know, Astana or something like that. It's not that sort of a game, but they're not that good. I'd be very surprised if United don't get through this. This was the dream ticket, really. I mean, look, they beat Molde, but Molde aren't that good. They did beat Napoli, I'll give them that. So look, there is a threat there. But on paper, on form, this should be a standard win for Manchester United. Now, it is being played in Spain. There'll be no fans there as well. But at least, you know, there's that away game first gives us the opportunity to get the away goals. But it's very much about how we're going to approach this game. Now, I've got a team on the left there. If he picks that team, you know, I'll shave my hair. You know, he won't pick that team. I'm mocking you, Ollie. Pick that team and I will shave my hair off. He won't pick that team. But I would like to see that team, and I'll go through why. Obviously, I want to see David De Gea in goal. We'll come back to De Gea in a little bit because there's some more news coming out about him. I want to see De Gea in goal because he should be sharing the role. I do think it will be Henderson, but I want to see De Gea in goal. I think Tuanzebe has to play. COVID for Bailly, he can't play. Lindelof is definitely not fit. I don't care what. I mean. He went on international duty. He had a week off. Like, he's not fit. He's got a bad back. He's not fit. So, if Bailly was fit, I think Bailly would play. So, play Tuanzebe. Now, I think he'll play Lindelof and Maguire, and he'll play Lindelof and Maguire against Spurs, and we'll just do the same thing that we've done to Lindelof all season. Keep playing him when he's not injured. I don't think Lindelof played well at the weekend either. I thought he was very poor. So, not playing well. Not fit. Surely you play Tuanzebe, but you'll probably play Lindelof, but I'd play Tuanzebe. I would pick Shaw and Wan-Bissaka. I mean, you could play Telles, but this is a quarter-final and we do need to win. And look, I think if you make too many changes, you invite Granada into the game. So I wouldn't make too many changes that aren't enforced. I would go Fred and Pogba, but I think he'll play McTominay and Pogba because McTominay didn't play at the weekend and he loves him. Obviously, Bruno plays. And then the front three situation gets interesting. I wouldn't play Rashford because Rashford is injured. Like, at some point, somebody has got to say to Solskjaer, look, I know he's our best player, but he's injured. And it's not a new injury, that's the same bloody ankle, isn't it? He's took a knock on the same ankle that clearly wasn't recovered before. So at some point, you've got to make a brave decision and say, I'm not playing Rashford. And if Rashford's fit to play against Granada, I'd keep him back for Spurs because that's a bigger game. So I would not play Rashford. I would play Dan James on the left. Greenwood I would play down the middle. Cavani's not going to be here next season. He's not. So why not go for Greenwood? Go for Greenwood and put Van der Beek to the right. I'd love to see that. Did you see Jesse Light's Sky Sports Instagram post that Man United must be thinking he could be very good for them? He wants to come back surely, says Joshua Bowater. And do you prefer playing home or away first, says Ewan Black? It's dangerous, Ewan. It's dangerous. I don't really like the away goals thing. I've never liked it. I'd rather be home first and win well, but it depends what you do. Like away first can work. You know, basically what you want to do is set the game up for the second leg. So if you are the home team first, you keep it tight. Maybe take a 1-0 win to their place. If you are the away team first, you want to keep it tight and take it to their place. So, I think home first is probably what I would prefer. But in this situation, against this opposition, I'm not too worried. I think if you were playing someone like Real Madrid or Juventus or PSG, where you know it's going to be tight, I'd rather play the home game first, yeah. But against someone like Granada, I'm not too fussed about it, really. But interested to see what your thoughts on my team there. I'm very, very adamant that I want to see Van der Beek, Bruno and Pogba on the same pitch. I think it can work. I think we've seen that Van der Beek works well in and around the box. I mean, there was an amazing stat for the game against Brighton that I don't think Van der Beek touched the ball and yet had a big impact in his movement. I mean, this is one of the understated things about Van der Beek, and for those people who know anything about Van der Beek, his movement off the ball is fantastic. Fantastic. And it depends what level you want to look at football. You can go quite granular, or you can just go, oh, what's the score? How long's it been on? You know, so But Van der Beek has always been a player that's very, very intelligent off the ball. Now, you can make things happen off the ball without touching the ball, because if I'm occupying a couple of defenders, I'm creating space for somebody else. And that's what Van der Beek's very, very good at. So I'd love to see Van der Beek interchanging with Bruno, playing across that front three. And look, people are saying he's not right-footed and all this crap and he's not a winger. You can distinctly see from that image there that Dan James is playing more wide and Van der Beek is tucking in. And that's what I would like to see. And I would really like to see that. I also think it gives you in-game changeability, because you could say to Bruno, go right and let Van der Beek go 10 for 10 minutes. You could even say to Van der Beek, drop into the midfield and let Pogba go forward. I think this is the way United have missed a trick this season, and maybe COVID, injuries, I accept that, but there's no excuse now not to get those three players on the pitch. And I think we would cause teams a lot of problems if they didn't know who was sitting. Even Bruno can go and sit and let Pogba go number 10. There's loads of things we can interchange in a game, and I think that dynamism would be working really, really well. There is a massive distrust at all levels of our club. Players don't trust each other, e.g. Rashford, Maguire, Ollie only trusts a few players. Players don't trust Ollie or coaching team. No trust in the board, says Paul Gould. So, well, I'll come back to that, Paul. But in relation to this game, I don't think we'll concede. I think we'll keep a clean sheet, and I'm going to go 2-0 United. I don't think we'll get a. I felt that Sociedad, was it 3 or 4-0 we had in the first leg there. I felt that was a little, I think it was 4-0, wasn't it? I felt that was a little bit over the top. I don't know whether it was a 4-0 game. I don't think we'll do that again. I don't think that Granada will play that naive. They normally play a 4-2-3-1. And I think they will be wary of what we can do on the break, so to speak. So I don't think there'll be loads of goals in it, but I fancy a 2-0 win, which should be enough to take back to Old Trafford. But let's not forget, we have got Spurs at the weekend, and I think that's something that's really important to bring into this. Exciting as well that we play Granada, Spurs, Granada, and you could slip up if you're not careful. He's going to have to play the squad game. You can't put the same team out for the next 4 games. It just won't work. So bringing McTominay in for Fred probably makes sense. He might play McFred and rest Pogba because Pogba's only just coming back. Cavani's only just coming back. You can't play Cavani against Brighton, against Granada, against Spurs, against Granada, which is why I would play Greenwood. I think you've got to utilise the freshness of Van der Beek. I think you've got to use Dan James, and Rashford needs a rest. And as I said, Lindelof, to me, you can't keep playing him. He's got a bad back. Use Twansebi. You could even bring Tellez in for sure if you wanted to. I wouldn't have a massive problem with that. But I'd be very happy with that team. Very happy indeed. And I think we'll win 2-0, and I think we'll get through this fine. I mean, I think the game against Spurs at the weekend is very interesting, but I'm not going to talk about that. Kickoff's 8 o'clock, Matt Scott. Thank God for that. No more 5 to 6 on a Thursday night. I think those days are over. So that will be comfortable. Leslie thinks it's going to be a massacre. I don't know about that. What about Ahmed Traore, says Lennon. Maybe off the bench. Yeah, maybe off the bench. I am doing watch-alongs tonight, Paul. The United stand is at 7 o'clock tonight, so I will be doing watch-alongs at 8 o'clock on That's Football. And I'm not doing FIFA Career Mode today because I've done a video already on That's Football this morning talking about Sancho and the Euros and Gary Neville and Carragher, so I don't do 3 videos on That's Football. I am going to be live on Twitch after this doing a bit of Grand Theft Auto, though. If people want to join me there, I'll put it on my socials. But I still want to carry on talking here for a bit. George Carl says he reckons 5-0 to us. I tell you what, George, it would be nice if that happened. It would be very, very nice. But look, threats for Granada. Saldado, you might have heard of him, formerly of Spurs. Kennedy is on loan from Chelsea. I thought they'd sold him. I mean, he's about 45. He's not really. He's only 25. But they're not a team. They're not a team I profess to know loads about. I mean, I think this was the club that Andreas Pereira went on loan to, didn't he? A couple of years ago, or probably 3 or 4 years ago now. But you've got to respect them. You have to respect them, but we should be winning this comfortably. And I think that Solskjaer just needs to rotate a little bit and show a little bit of trust in his squad and move away from this insular group of picking the same players all the time. I think there's been question marks put around the club and the dressing room this week, and it'd be nice to... Apologies, I probably just dropped out a little bit there. Where's Football Manager, Smithy? This is not the place to talk about my Football Manager careers and stuff like that. I don't mind answering questions, but this is the United stand. I did just drop out there, sorry. I should be back now, but it did drop out for a few seconds, so apologies for that. That actually was why I was a little bit later before, because I had a bit of a problem. So I think the internet's dropping in and out a little bit there, but it did drop. So let me come back into something else then. Let me talk about Romano and a few of the things that he said. And I want to bring something in that I hadn't brought in before. So Fabrizio Romano, talking about David De Gea, said that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will sit down in the summer and decide which goalkeeper he wants to play, David De Gea or Dean Henderson. So I think there was something that somebody actually emailed me about that reminded me of something, to be fair. And that was that, can you remember when David De Gea got his job, got his new contract? I think it was 2019, September 2019. That would be about right. Ollie had just been given the job in April 2019, and we got David De Gea on a new contract in September 2019. And then in October 2019, we played Newcastle and we lost 1-0. And David De Gea came out afterwards and basically said to the effect, no excuses, we're Manchester United, we shouldn't be performing like that. This is the worst we've been in my time here and I don't know why it's happening. Basically got stripped of any chance of getting the captaincy ever again. And, people at United were not very happy about that. And then a few months later, they gave the captaincy to Harry Maguire, who'd only been at the club 5 months. So it's interesting, isn't it? To go back to that, you can sort of, you can go back and you can see the issues that happened there. You need to refresh if it's a bit blurry. So it's interesting, isn't it, that you can almost go back and pinpoint the beginning of an issue between Solskjaer and Ollie, because I'm not blind to the fact that there might be something there. Now, obviously, Ollie's kept him in number one ever since then, but if it's not about his form, what is it about? And I think that's a very interesting point to go back to. We gave him the contract in September. He came out after the Newcastle game in October and basically berated the way, basically did a Roy Keane. He came out and just was like, that's not good enough. We defended well, but we're not creating enough chances. Conceding from our own corner is not good enough. And he's never been United captain. Well, he was never contender for United captain then after that. So, maybe there's an issue there. I don't know. Maybe that's something to do with it. But what I did want to say is that I've heard people saying that Henderson suits Ollie's style of play more. I nearly laughed when I read this. What style of play